Today on Dr. Phil.
I don't trust Shannon as far as I can throw her.
They don't like their brother's fiancé.
If Shannon shows her face at this house, I'm gonna knock her out. I'm not going to let just anybody marry my brother. You don't have to like me.
You guys are so not ready to get married.
She has an attitude with his family.
None of us are invited to the wedding?
This is pointless because she's just lying, so let's move on.
Stop talking. That's 5 minutes of my life I can't get back.
And with the show.
You need some help, or this relationship will never survive.
Everything that's been said is everything I already know.
Maybe I'm just not smart enough to keep up with you. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've heard long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Wilson, take
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
How you doing? Weddings. What is it about that perfect day that makes people absolutely lose their minds? Now, over the past 12 years, I've talked to hundreds of couples who desperately wanted to tie the knot, but they say they were being held back by families standing in the way. A few years ago, I talked to a mother who was banned from her own son's wedding by the bride-to-be. Last year, I dealt with a mom who said her son chose the wrong fiancé, but then agreed to meet her on my show. Another mom came on saying she was convinced that her son's fiancé was after his money, so she hired a private investigator to check up on her. Well, for some, it's harder than you think to get your family on board and accept your spouse-to-be. Now, my first guest, Dan, knows about this all too well. His siblings say they not only don't approve of their brother's backstabbing, ruthless, foul-mouthed fiancé, they say he needs to dump her now, today, because no one in their family wants Shannon for a sister-in-law. Shannon says she doesn't want to hate her in-laws-to-be, but they've caused her so much anxiety, resentment, and anger that her fiancé, Dan, has put their wedding on hold.
I was very excited to meet Dan's sister, Tony. I really thought that we would end up being best friends. Even Dan would say, you're going to get along so well.
And my advice for Shannon was to be herself. I told Shannon that my family was a caring group of people, that she had nothing to worry about.
That was definitely not the case.
I think Shannon is poisonous for Dan.
Tone is very dramatic and immature. She's the only girl in the family, so she's always been like the princess.
I don't trust Shannon as far as I can throw her.
Tony and Shannon seem to get along like two female dogs going at each other's throats.
Tone immediately started trouble trying to turn the family against me.
Shannon comes off as controlling, manipulative, and selfish.
Shannon felt completely comfortable walking around my house with no bra on, booty shorts. She would curse in front of my family. She would fart. I do not talk about my period in front of my father.
It's not like I was walking around saying, hey, guess what, everybody? I'm on my period today. All I did was ask her mom if I could have something for my cramps. Tone, once again, is blowing everything out of proportion.
Shannon actually told my friend, and I quote, I don't understand why Tony is so jealous of me.
I'm not trying to be Dan's sister. I want to be his fiance.
And I was definitely worried about a physical fight.
I did tell my father, if Shannon shows her face at this house, I'm gonna knock her out.
Shannon's the love of my life, and I need John and Tone to understand that they're causing more harm than good in my relationship. I've been thinking about asking Shannon to marry me.
Dan and I were arguing one day.
She was really going off on me. I figured the best thing to do to lighten the mood and break the tension was to pop the question on her right then and there.
I said yes, and I was so excited, and I couldn't wait to tell everybody.
I said, look at the ring that's on your finger, Shannon. Like, that's like a $150 ring. They told me that I was rude. I asked them, would you rather me lie and fake a smile and pretend to be happy?
The first thing out of Tone's mouth was, I better be the maid of honor. I said, I'm sorry, but I have a sister.
I love my brother. but I wish that he would choose to marry and bring a good girl into this family.
Neither of them are marriage material, especially Shannon.
There's absolutely no way that any of them are invited to our wedding. The wedding, as of right now, is on hold. It's not canceled. We are getting married. We don't know exactly when.
Oh, well, so what's the problem? Everything seems to be worked out. You just simply don't want him to marry her.
No.
Why?
Not at all. She's the exact opposite of anything I would want to bring into this family. She shows no signs of class. She shows no signs of respect to me or any of my family members. She did not come into this family and act like a guest. She came in and acted like she was owed respect, like she belonged there immediately. And I was offended by that. I would never do that to somebody that I was in love with. I would never walk into my boyfriend's house, sit right down, make myself comfortable, share my opinion, wear whatever I want, say whatever I want, curse, talk about girl things. I just wouldn't. It's just not classy, it's not respectful, and I don't appreciate it.
Do you think that you're classy? In any way?
I'm sorry, yeah, I do.
Well, why were you my best friend for like 2 months?
Dan begged me. Dan begged
so there
me.
was fake.
Dan said to me, listen, Tone, I know you don't like Shannon. I know there's a lot of things that bother you about her, but she's in a new state. She doesn't know many people. She doesn't have any friends. He said, please give her a chance. So because I love my brother, I gave you a chance.
It wasn't a chance, Tone. You hit me up every day to hang out with you.
Hit you up every day? You were living in my house. You would beg me to go get lunch with you.
I would beg you.
Yes.
I never begged you.
I always said, Shannon, I don't have money. I don't feel like going. You're like, please, come on. I'll pay for you. You can get whatever you want. You begged me.
I offered to pay for you. I never begged you.
Okay.
I was being nice.
You were desperate for a friend.
What do you think about this?
What I've seen is this isn't a new thing with my family. They've since day one, I've caught a lot of advice, I guess you could call it, in their words. It's a lot of they like to kind of try to set my life up to where they think it should be, because I think they think that I can't do it myself. So any girl I've ever brought around, it's always been a conflict of some sort, one or the other, you know.
How old are you?
21.
I'm sorry?
21.
21?
Yeah.
Have you brought a lot of girls around?
I've had nothing but long-term relationships as far as, you know, well, not long-term, obviously I'm only 21, but I haven't been, like, promiscuous. So I've had girlfriends, you know, for almost a year at a time, 2 years at a time.
Wow.
So I try to, you know, I try to look in the right places, and I admit in the past I haven't, you know, found the one for me. But in this case, I feel like I have found the one for me. And what I asked of my family was, as a whole, please just try to make her feel welcome, because she was nervous to come to New Jersey. She really was, to live with my family. But I told her.
You really believe that we wouldn't give someone a chance?
I think especially you.
Especially me?
Especially you. Never gave me a chance. You came in there already thinking you weren't going to like me.
Well, there was things leading up to coming home that were setting the stage for, all right, what am I coming home to? I'm the first person to give anyone in this world a chance. I'm the nicest, I'm a nice guy. I am the first person to come up to you and try everything I can and give you a chance, and I'm your friend here, this, that, and the other. Like, I'm never going to come after you.
How do you get along with her?
Well, at first, I first met her, I shook her hand, and I was like, hi, like, I'm John, nice to meet you. You guys are obviously together. I care about Dan enough to give anyone he's with a chance, especially first time meeting her. There was just, I couldn't really trust her at first, just because of everything that I heard and how she presented herself.
Well, how did it run off the rails? How did you go from, hey, open-minded, you know, obviously she's a very attractive young woman, she's with your brother. How did it go from there to no way, no how, should he marry her, bad news, bad deal, get out now?
Well, you worry about Dan.
And I understand the concern.
I almost watched my brother die. So no, clearly you don't.
I do.
Because I almost watched my brother die.
Not that concerned.
Because I was the one who had to resuscitate him twice.
And later,
I was stuck. What do I do?
You didn't have an excuse for not getting a haircut, so you just asked her to marry you? What, that's better?
I received a text from Tone telling me to stay away from her family, never to show my face around her house again. She came off very aggressive towards me. I simply texted Shannon and said, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Please don't text me. Please don't call me. Please don't show your face at my house. You've proved to me on numerous occasions that I can't trust you, and I'm just done with this friendship. And I woke up the next morning with 3 more text messages from Shannon calling me a bitch, backstabber. I don't trust Shannon as far as I could throw her.
Well, how did it run off the rails? How did you go from, hey, open-minded, you know, obviously she's a very attractive young woman, she's with your brother. How did it go from there to no way, no how, should he marry her, bad news, bad deal, get out now?
Because at first, I was never really involved in drama. Anyone in my family will vouch that I'm not the guy who
What
starts
happened
problems.
to run it off the rails?
Her problems with everyone else in the family. Tony was in my ear after every single argument, after every Facebook post, after every slight attack, and I was always the one trying to put the pieces back together for my sister and actually try to help her make it work.
I've never been the attacker, ever. Not one single time was I ever the one to attack first. I just retaliated and stuck up for myself. And can I just say, the first conversation I ever had with you was you bashing Dan for a good hour and a half straight. The first conversation I ever had with you.
At the kitchen table?
Yes, bashing him. He will never change.
Bashing him?
He will never change.
Was I not in tears when you came home?
Which caught me off
saying-
guard because you just talked about him for an hour and a half, and then he walks in the house, you're like, oh my God, I love you so much.
See, but like, once again, this is you twisting words. Me and John exhibit, we worry about Dan. He has a drug problem. He overdosed twice.
He doesn't have a drug problem, Tony.
Are you kidding me? He doesn't.
He had.
Smoking pot and drinking.
You smoke
after
pot
every. Heroin. I didn't overdose twice. I didn't nearly die.
And I understand the concern.
I almost watched my brother die. So no, clearly you don't.
I do.
Because
You
I
smoked
almost
with
watched
him.
my brother
Obviously
die.
not that concerned.
Because I was the one who had to resuscitate him twice in front of my crying family screaming for their son to wake up. So no, I'm sorry. I'm not going to let just anybody walk into his life and marry him, let alone somebody who thinks it's okay to smoke pot and drink as a recovering addict. So
Tony,
sorry,
you smoked weed with him and drank with him too.
When you guys first came home, did I or did I not say you are not allowed to drink around me, smoke around me? I don't want any part of it.
And then it took one time. Okay, let's hang out every day. Let's smoke weed. Let's get high.
Dan acting like an adult. Dan acted like an adult. He drank a couple beers, went to bed early, as you continue to stay up and party because you love the lifestyle. Whatever, do you?
Because you
I
begged
don't
me
care.
to-
I did not beg you to do shit.
Okay.
You wanted to stay up and party. You wanted to smoke.
You're like, come
whatever.
with me. Dan won't be mad. Dan won't be mad. I'll talk to him. Don't
Proving my
worry.
female
I
dog.
never said that.
No.
Once again, I never said
Proving
that.
that
When
right.
did I say that?
It's going on.
They said the same.
When we
did
went
I
to your
say
cousin's
that?
house.
At my cousin's house.
Yes.
I never begged
Yes.
you.
I
have
said
my
Dan's
cousin
gonna- I
Sam.
said Dan's
I
gonna be
have my
mad.
cousin Sam. Yes, no, we were all supposed to go to my cousin Michael's house. And I said, oh, Dan's asleep. Maybe you should go talk to him. Oh, I don't want to wake him up. He won't be mad. Me,
I never-
John,
okay.
Dan was pissed. Dan
This
was
is
furious
this is
with
pointless
you.
because she's just
You
lying.
never said
So let's
that.
move
We were
on.
standing at the island in my Uncle Joe's
Let's
house.
move on.
And
This
you
is
said,
so
Dan's asleep,
pointless.
but I really want to go. I'm sure he won't mind. And my father
I knew
said
you-
to Dan, that is not the type of girl you like.
All right.
The type
All
of
right.
girl who would go out when you're
can I talk?
asleep,
Can I
you
talk,
don't
please?
marry her.
Let's go.
Can I say something?
Absolutely. Please, I would love it.
Why would you even ask?
I will never, ever say that she is the perfect human being.
And I won't
I am
either.
not a perfect person, clearly. I don't think anybody's perfect. We all make mistakes. Clearly, I've made mine. And I've proven to keep myself out of the depths of where my addiction was, obviously. That I feel as though that's a past issue.
By drinking and smoking, you ever heard of Gateway?
I've
Like, that's
moved on
not
to bigger and
something
better things. I'm
you wanna be
holding
involved
jobs.
with.
I haven't touched heroin in 2 years.
Okay. Your point is you're doing better, right?
Yes, correct. I'm doing better, and I feel as though you guys, rightfully so, have your worries and concerns. Absolutely, I don't blame you. I love you guys to death. You're my family. You helped raise me. And you know what? You were there to catch me when I fell. But at this point, it's time to let me grow. It's time to let what happened in the past go. I need to move on.
Would you like to know what I think?
I would love to hear what you think.
Would you like to know what I think? Would you like to know what I think? Would you like to know what I think?
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to be right back to Jersey Shore. Next, Tony says there could be a medical reason that Dan never picks the right girls. We're going to find out about that and more when we come back.
Dan chooses girls like Shannon who are devious and malicious and trashy because he truly feels like that's the best he can do. And I think that that stems from a psychological disorder.
My parents and I had agreed that they would try their best to make Shannon feel at home and feel comfortable. Shannon started to act comfortable and come out of her shell, and as soon as she did that, they immediately had something to say about it. They were telling me that it wasn't how she should be acting. My parents jumped on her and made her feel uncomfortable.
I think I was being judged too harshly and too quickly. I don't think that they really gave me a chance to get to know me before they started making judgments and pushing me away.
We are in the middle of a wedding engagement drama. John says his sister-in-law-to-be, Shannon, is controlling, manipulative, ignorant, selfish, and no good for his brother Dan. Tony says she never liked Shannon from the jump. She's rude, ruthless, lacks class, and always starts fights in her family. Now, Dan says he expected his family to be open and accepting, but his bride-to-be, Shannon, says all she feels from them is disapproving judgment. Tony and John say they want Shannon gone now.
Dan doesn't think he's worth anything. Dan has a very low self-esteem. He doesn't think he deserves a good girl or a good life. He chooses girls like Shannon who are devious and malicious and trashy because he truly feels like that's the best he can do. And I think that that stems from a psychological disorder.
Every girl in Dan's life has a way of working Dan like a puppet. He deserves better, and he doesn't give himself enough credit for the person that he is.
A prior girlfriend dumped him after he lost his job. She was kind of a gold digger. He went into a downward spiral. He started to drink and drive. He started to use cocaine. He started to do Percocets every day. Dan's such a great person. He's funny. He's fun to hang around with. And ever since he started dating these girls, ever since the drugs, I haven't had that Dan. I just want my brother back.
Okay, now, is there anything about what she says that you take issue with?
Absolutely. For you to say that, you know, my self-esteem, I admit at times my self-esteem obviously has not been the highest. That part of the reason why people use drugs, try to make themselves feel better and escape. Absolutely, I've been at lows. Absolutely, I will not deny that one bit. And in the past, I have picked girls who, you know, at the time fed my need to feel wanted and feel needed. And they did their purpose. They did. And then when they dropped me, I felt at lower depths. I've learned from that. Like I said, I haven't touched the stuff in 2 years. And I live without the conflict between Shannon and you and the rest of the family that follows along. My life, I wouldn't have much to really cry about. I really wouldn't have much to, everything comes and goes. The jobs will come and go, the money will come and go, but my family and my fiance are gonna be here with me to the day I die.
Okay, why do you want to get married?
I love her to death.
Period. I mean, it's not just to her, but why do you want to get married, period?
I feel as though that I've done a lot of growing, extreme amount of growing in the past 2 years, especially since I've proven to many that, you know, I'm not just, you know, the guy who fell off after high school.
But didn't you say that because this really jumped out at me. We do a lot of interviews with you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean a lot. And you certainly had a lot to say. But I read every word of it. And one of the things is that one of the reasons you asked her to marry you is because you were already down on one knee.
No, what I had tried to say was that I had been planning, we had even talked about it, you know, consensually about getting married. We both believed that the way we fell in love was surreal.
Consensually, you talked about getting married.
Yeah.
So does that mean that
on both
you weren't
sides,
under duress?
We already had the marriage application when he proposed. It's not like he just decided
What did you mean? I was already down on one knee, so I just asked her.
Well,
That's what you said. I can play it back for you.
No, I remember the situation. We had moved back to New Jersey, and she was feeling uncomfortable and stuff like that. But so one night, the first night, I had actually left her alone in the house and gone out on my own to hang out with a friend of mine. I went to go get a haircut, and we had gone out, and you know, we were at the mall itself, and the place was closed, so I couldn't get my hair cut.
Yeah, can we get to the one knee?
All right, yeah. So I decided to I went to go look at rings. I found one that interested me. I thought I liked the, you know, design of it and everything like that, you know. So I got it, I brought it home, and I told my buddy, I'm not gonna do this yet. I'm gonna save it for when it really is perfect, because I'm a romantic. I like to think I am, at least. And I'd gotten home, and they had apparently told her, oh, he's out with him, they're doing drugs, or they used to do drugs together, he's up to no good, and my father
Could we get to the one knee?
So she's tearing me apart. She's, where were you? Your family told me you're doing this and that and the other thing.
He didn't have a haircut.
And I didn't have a haircut, so I look like an idiot. Like, what am I gonna say? Oh, they only took a little bit off and it's not noticeable. No. I was stuck. What do I do? And I knew I wanted to marry her. She's going off, and it just killed me to see her that angry about something that they were putting in her
You didn't
head.
have an excuse for not getting a haircut, so you just asked her to marry you? What, that's better? You've been called trashy, slutty, that you curse, fart, and talk about your period with your future father-in-law.
Okay, I feel like they live on a whole nother planet.
Here's the thing. You said you wanted to know what I think.
Yeah.
Okay? You've been called by sister here, trashy, slutty, this, that, and the other. I certainly don't have that opinion of you. So I don't endorse anything like that's been said. I'm sure there's been a lot said on both sides. But I will say this, you know, I've been in this field of psychology, human functioning, relationships, relationship management for, oh God, almost 40 years now. Almost 40 years. Hell, I've been married 37 years. So I feel like I have an opinion that I want you to hear. I don't think that they are objective because they're protective about you. They're well-intended and they come from a place of love, but I think it's really misguided. I mean, you said, I'm not going to have my brother marry somebody. Well, that's not your choice. Sorry, but you don't get to pick. And neither do I. I don't get to pick. But I sat down when I was preparing all of this and going through it, and I just started sitting down and saying, if I were you looking at him as a candidate to get married, what would that resume look like? Now, according to what his family says and some of what you say, well, here's what we have. He has a history as a drug abuser, correct? Okay. You have OD'd twice. You've been to rehab 3 times. You are a pretty poor, volatile relationship manager. Agreed?
I have been in the
Have
past,
been,
yeah.
yes. We're talking history. We can't predict the future. You said to Tone, you're dead to me. You punched your brother in the jaw and, according to him, left him for dead. You have, in a bad breakup before, you turned to cocaine and heroin. You say you're sober for 1 year and 8 months, but you're still drinking and smoking pot, according to these folks. Is that true or not true? There's no reason to lie to me. Hell, I'm not the school principal. I can't make you do anything. Are you still smoking and drinking pot, even occasionally?
No, currently, no, I'm not.
Not currently.
No, sir.
Have you in the last 1 year and 8 months?
Yes.
Then you're not sober for 1 year and 8 months. They say you have low self-esteem. I don't know, but I'm just saying that's something that people that know him, that he clings to any girl that shows him attention. Now, this is according to his brother, not his sister, who gets a little mouthy, but his brother. Immature. You call your ex when you're upset, and when Shannon got back with her ex, then you call your ex. You got a Shannon K tattoo to show your commitment?
Yeah.
You're 21. Okay. You say you propose because you're already on one knee, and I now understand it was to cover up not getting a haircut. You're not living independently as an adult, right? You're living with family, parents, right? You're living with her
Not the whole
parents?
time we've been together. We've had
two places.
Are you self-sustaining? Do you have a job? Do you pay your own car and apartment and rent and all of that? Okay, so let's look at Shannon's resume. I'm just saying this after 40 years of doing this. These are the things I would look at as risk factors. You have a history as a drug abuser, right?
Yes.
You've been to rehab once. You relapsed after skipping meetings. You get drunk now, and according to Tone, to the point of being embarrassing. You smoke pot in front of your future mother-in-law?
Yeah, me and Tony at a concert did.
Okay, that's not sober.
It was,
we all have a different definition of sober than I do. Doing drugs is not sober.
I need to correct this because it keeps being said. Anytime that I've been on the phone with anyone and telling our story, I've made it clear that Dan and I have both been off our drug of choice for a certain amount of time, but we have not been sober for that long.
Okay, then you're not sober.
Right, we have a month sober. We have a month sober right now.
You got a month clean off of mind-altering drugs.
Okay, everything.
We live
just
for today.
A whole month.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. I'm talking about as terms of candidates for being married.
I agree.
Congratulations if you have been clean for a month. Seriously, congratulations for that. Glad to hear that. But that does not mean that it is timely or you're a candidate to get married. Okay? They say you have no car, you have no money, you have no job when you were in New Jersey.
That's not true. That's completely untrue.
In New Jersey, you had a car, job, and money.
We had a job.
No,
and we had
not
money.
we, you.
Me, yes. I had a job.
Okay.
Well, we shared a car. I didn't have my own car.
Well, they say you were lounging on the couch, smoking cigarettes. You brought your laundry to have it done. That you send nasty texts and calls, and that you called your sister-in-law a bitch and the word.
I don't remember.
That you're disloyal, that you talk to families behind their back, about their family behind their back, and that when you visited your ex in Chicago, that you did drugs the whole time and stayed high.
I never visited my ex in Chicago.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you. They say poor judgment, flirtatious. They're citing that you were dirty dancing at a wedding, that you curse, fart, and talk about your period with your future father-in-law.
Okay,
and that's poor judgment, and that it's inappropriate dress, that you walk around in bras, short shorts in front of his family, and that they think that is just inappropriate.
This is like a whole nother, I feel like they live on a whole nother planet. Like, I really need to clarify all of this because it's gonna eat me alive if I leave and don't clarify all of this. With the whole swearing in front of his family, you know, farting, whatever. Like, literally every other word in that house is out of all of their mouths, even their 15.
That's my family.
Okay,
I'm related to them. It's okay.
We're not
It's
trying to
expected.
fit in.
All right. We don't have to prove anything to our family.
I don't have to
be
prove anything
ourselves.
to you either.
See, but that's the thing. That is
Why
why
are
I
we
don't
here?
want you marrying my brother, because
Okay.
you don't feel
And-
like you have to prove yourself to us. You don't feel like you owe us any respect.
I feel like
Why
you should
would I
accept
want
me
you to
for
be
who I
part of
am.
my family?
Tony, but
You
who
don't
are you
have
to
to
judge?
like, exactly. You don't
Who are
have
you
to
to
like
judge?
me. We're here to solve the problem between me and Dan's family. And
None of us are
Florida-
invited to the wedding.
That's your marriage if you get married. You guys are so not ready to get married.
In order for this to work out, I do need an apology from John and Tony. I've attempted to apologize to them and never heard back. And they can't just continue on with life like I don't exist, because I do, and I am marrying their brother, and there needs to be some type of resolution.
The wedding will be the only time I show my face around her. If Dan wants to keep his relationship with me after marrying this girl, it'll have to be just me and him. I will not be going to their house. I want nothing to do with this girl. If Dan's okay with marrying a girl that I can't even stand being in the presence of, then that's on Dan.
Let me say something to both of you here. I'm not saying that you owe her a damn thing. I'm not saying that
I owe
you
her an
have
apology.
that you have to get approval from them in any way. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about whether he is a high-risk candidate as a husband or whether you are a high-risk candidate as a wife. You guys are so not ready to get married. If you want to be married and if you want to be happy, you have a lot more growing to do. You have a lot more maturing to do. I mean, it's kind of like I've said, it's like if you were getting ready to go off a ramp and jump something, and I knew, because I had figured out you need to be going 108 miles an hour, and I see you going 52, wouldn't you want me to tell you, look, when two damaged people get married, they multiply each other's toxicity. I want Dan and Shannon, watch this video very carefully. Bubba Blackwell tried to jump 22 cars on July 4th, 2001. Things didn't go as planned. He woke up 3 days later asking, what am I doing here? Look at this. That's your marriage if you get married. You are not going fast enough to clear the hurdles to have a happy marriage. You're not ready.
Okay, I'm not really sure why this all got turned, we're here to solve the problem between me and Dan's family and try to come to a point where we can all be okay. The marriage is on hold. I stated that.
All be okay. So when in that video, none of us are invited to the wedding?
Yeah.
How are you going to fix things and say things like that?
Everything was fine. The
How's
last
that
fight we had, Dan had me apologize to you, and I did. And I apologized to you, and you accepted it. And for the few days before you left for Florida, we were fine. I even hugged you goodbye. Next thing you know, I'm getting a call from Dr. Phil. Hey, we want you to be on the show. We're not welcome at your wedding. Everything was fine when you left.
How are you going to go about getting in between my brother and his best man at a wedding?
I don't want to come in between you guys. I never have.
If I'm not invited,
Okay, stop
then
talking.
how can that be possible?
Stop talking. That's 5 minutes of my life I can't get back. And I'm going to forgive everybody for that, but you need to hear what I'm saying. And then when I finish talking, then I'm through. Y'all can go on, but I'm leaving. I want to tell you, bottom line, what I want you to leave here with. You do what you want with it. All of you do what you want with it, but I'm going to tell you, bottom line, what I want you to leave here with after the break.
We need to get her away from him, but we need him to be stable enough to not relapse.
All right, John says he's suspicious of any girl that would get his brother Dan into drugs again, and he lays that at your feet here. Take a look at this, and then I'm going to give you the bottom line.
So, as much as I hate Shannon and I want her out of Dan's life, we both know that there's a good chance that if she dumps him, he could go back to using heroin.
I completely agree.
We need to get her away from him, but we need him to be stable enough to not relapse.
Or maybe we do go through this and they have a realization and she changes and maybe she does end up being a positive influence.
You can't make a person change.
Yeah.
She is set in her ways.
Okay, at the break, you were saying to him, this has gotten so twisted, this is not what we've come here for. Is it possible that you don't know what it is that you need to hear?
No, the thing is that I agree with everything that's been said. I feel like I haven't been given a chance.
Then what is so twisted that you are just exasperatedly saying to your fiancé, this has gotten so twisted?
Because, I feel like everything that's been said is everything I already, know. Nothing that it needs to be solved
maybe I'm just not smart enough to keep up with you.
That's not what I meant. That's
okay,
not what I meant
I'm just going to do my absolute best. Hear what I say to the four of you. Relationships are based on maturity. If you have a chance at a successful relationship, it begins with you. Relationships aren't 50-50. That's what you read in books. That's what you hear motivational speakers say. That's cliche that you read in a pamphlet at the drugstore while you're checking out with your antidepressants. Relationships are 100-100. You are 100% responsible for who you are as a character, who you are as a person, who you are as a mate, who you are as an in-law. And you are conducting yourself as though you were raised by wolves. You are 100%, and you are conducting yourself as though you were raised by wolves, by wolves, by wolves. You're just barking and barking and barking and barking, and nobody's listening. Here's the thing. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. But wouldn't it be nice to have harmony in a family? Wouldn't it be nice to consider that there's a lot of work that needs to go into getting ready? Putting it on hold doesn't get you ready. It just makes the crash come later. You have a lot of work that you need to do. And I'm willing to help you do that work. I am willing to get you the help you need to, A, get you sober for real, not just pseudo-sober because we're not doing our drug of choice, but to not be drinking, not be smoking dope, not be doing anything that's toxic to you physically or psychologically. And you roll your eyes all you want to.
We're already doing that. We go to meetings every single day. We both have sponsors. We're working steps. I mean, we're doing everything we can to better ourselves on a daily basis. That's what our life revolves around now.
Well, then you don't need the help I'm offering you, but I'm offering it anyway.
Before you go and decline it yourself,
I'm offering it anyway.
I think my brother really
I'm offering
has
it
different
anyway.
ideas.
I'm offering it to you as a couple. I'm offering it to you individually.
Good.
And if you've already got everything you need, then it can't hurt, can it? And maybe, just maybe, you'll find something in there that says, wow, I didn't realize I was at risk for this, or that we as a couple were at risk for that, and I want you to do that. And I think if you decide, you know what, they can all act like crazy people if they want to, but I am going to be the mature person in this mix and rise above the fray. And I hope that's what you choose.
Absolutely.
I hope it's what you choose to do. I hope it's what both of you choose to do. And then we got 4 heroes and a lot of harmony. But right now, all this yelling and screaming and finger pointing, you know what? There's 4 glass houses here and a lot of rocks being thrown. I would just calm down, take the help I'm offering. You need some help. You need some help, or this relationship will never survive.
I agree.
And I'm willing to get you that help if you'll take it and let the professionals do their work, love your brother, and butt out of everything else. For information on managing your in-laws, go to drphil.com. Thanks to all my guests. I appreciate it. See you next time. Thanks. Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. So long.
Shannon came on the show expecting for Dr. Phil to turn to me and John and say, "You're out of line. He's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. Shannon has done nothing wrong. You have judged her for no reason." When really, Dr. Phil turned around and said, "Tony and John, you have every reason to worry about this. Dan and Shannon clearly are not ready for a marriage. They're clearly not even ready for a relationship."
The reason that I came here was to try to find a solution. I want them to be in the wedding. I love his family. I wanted to come here and come to a middle ground. I wanted to try to move on and forget all of this.
This girl doesn't understand what she's doing. She doesn't take responsibility for any of her own actions, and everything's okay in Shannon land.
Right. Shannon wanted Dr. Phil to tell her that she was right, even though everyone in their right minds knows that she was wrong.
There was a lot of valid points made. I just feel like we got way off topic, and I was hoping that it was going to get turned back onto the topic, and it never was.
The scene with the motorcycle crash was the perfect metaphor for what they're going into. I watched and I'm like, thank you for showing me this.
And he looked at that and he was like, "Me and Shannon think that this is a grand idea, but not only Tony John, but Dr. Phil and probably the rest of the world see this as what my marriage is going to be."
Shannon's still in extreme denial. Even when hearing it from Dr. Phil, you could still see the look on her face. She was like, "You don't know what you're talking about." Like, are you kidding me?
She thinks that she's good. She thinks that she can smoke pot and drink and that everything will be okay.
He made it sound like we're still smoking weed and drinking every day. We're not. We're doing great right now. Maybe 30 days doesn't sound like a long time to some people, but it is a big deal, and I'm proud of myself.